would you like to be heard?
Before that happens, may I respond briefly?
You may.
And the reason I'm asking is come on up, Meggan, is not to re-argue my case, and I'm not going to talk about any of the facts. You heard a full trial, so. But one of the challenges with references to the pre-sentence report is that document is not public. And as you know, Ms. Sundwall made a statement in that document. And she didn't call this a mistake. And she didn't focus only on herself. And I think it's important that I speak to that. That she said, I'm extremely ashamed to admit I actually encouraged her to end her life. But for the role I played, Kacee might still be alive today. I will also have to live with the pain that my role caused in Kacee's death and that it caused the people in her life, especially her sister Kylie and Uncle Mark. And I violated my role as a citizen when I lied in the investigation. So I just want to make public that his position. So I want to point out that in the pre-sentence report is created, it does reference recommendations, but the guideline matrix in this is prison. So that is unremarkable that pre-sentence report recommends prison. That would be the presumption. And there is an opportunity specifically for AP&P to present an argument as to why they're making a certain recommendation, whether they're aggravating and mitigating factors, and they did not mention anything that you just heard from the state. It simply was a matrix recommendation. So I want to speak to that. I want otherwise to respond. I respect that what you have set up is the order of communication and representations to the court. So because of the reference to that document that I asked to do that. I think Sundwall does want to speak.
Thank you. Ms. Sundwall.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm grateful for this opportunity in open court to apologize, especially to Kacee's family for what happened. As I said in my statement, if it wasn't for my role, Kacee likely would still be alive. She was loved by so many, I think even more than she realized. Friends, family, co-workers, associates. And her death hurt a lot of people. My role hurt a lot of people. And that includes my family and my son as well, of course. But whether I believed that she was suffering so immensely or not, encouraging her and supporting her in committing suicide was morally wrong, and I'm so sorry. I know these are just words and they can't bring her back, but I am truly so sorry for the role that I played in her death. I wish I could take it back. I'm just so sorry.
Thank you. This matter does come before the court for purposes of sentencing. And again, referencing all the parties who have submitted statements and to everyone involved, the gravity of the decision that I have to make in something like this is not lost on me. And the effects on all involved are just profoundly immense. I understand that. I want to talk a little bit about what I've read in some of the statements and what is contained in the pre-sentence report. First off, I want to single out a statement that Mr. Williams did. from Kacee's uncle, Mr. Farnsworth. He testified at trial. He was on the stand for quite a bit, and he was very familiar with the situation and lived in the same house with Kacee. Mr. Farnsworth, I want to tell you, I appreciate your understanding of our system and how it works. And in particular, I appreciate the empathy you've shown toward Ms. Sundwall's family. While acknowledging your own family's continued suffering. Those are not statements I see every day. So thank you. Also from those statements, it's clear that Ms. Sundwall, you are supported by many, many, many people. It's only going to help you moving forward. In trial, we were shown an exhibit that was a photo that was next to Kacee's pillow. And it appeared to be a picture of you and Kacee. And on the frame, it said best friends, or something to that extent. I'm not sure how a person gets to the point that you did with your best friend. From the evidence in trial, it really appeared to be an extremely dysfunctional relationship. And in reading the countless texts with talk of death and life insurance and suicide, and many of those texts that you received from Kacee, being a trained nurse, even in context, would be just considered unbelievable. I want to talk now about something I also don't see that often in this courtroom, in this kind of setting. In every pre-sentence report that's prepared, the defendant is given a chance to write a statement. And Ms. Sundwall, I want to read some of yours so everybody can hear. And your attorney's already alluded to or read some of those statements. But I want to read some of your statements. You specifically wrote, "Because I believe she was suffering so immensely, I did not discourage her from ending her own life. In fact, I am extremely ashamed to admit that I actually encouraged her to end her life. I have spent countless hours pondering on how I could have allowed myself to lose sight of my own beliefs, how I allowed myself to stray so far from the very core of my being, my principles, my character. But for the role I played, Kacee might still be alive today. I will have to live with that shame, the absolute regret, the overwhelming remorse at my role every day, every hour, every minute, every second for the rest of my life. Even more than that, I will also have to live with the pain that my role in Kacee's death caused all the people in her life, especially her sister Kylie and her uncle Mark." Ms. Sundwall, I appreciate your statement. It shows some self-awareness, and that's not something I always see. In fact, it's rare. Hopefully, this statement will help you in the future moving forward and help Kacee's family moving forward. Up to the point of Kacee's death, you, from what I've read, you appeared to live a life of service to others. Dedicated service to others. And in your statement, you indicated you don't know how you lost sight of that. extremely sad and unfortunate. The balance in a matter like this between justice and mercy is a delicate one. It really is. But the fact of the matter is that a human being died. Kacee. She died too soon. And you played a key role in that death. As has been stated by both sides, this is a tragedy that never needed to happen. It just didn't. I can only imagine the suffering that Kacee experienced in those last hours in your presence. And the fear. And those last hours that she experienced in the hospital. And Kacee experienced these due in large part to your individual actions. It was a choice that you made. I truly wish the best for Kacee's family, and I ache for what you have been through and what you will go through. Ms. Sundwall, I also hope you and your family can find your way through this. Because unlike Kacee, you still get to live your life. And I truly hope you make the most of it. I really, really do. As I said before, the impact on Ms. Sundwall, you and your family, and Ms. Terry's family are just incalculable. As for sentencing, I have had a chance to review the pre-sentence report as prepared by AP&P. I will note for the recommendation that is provided by AP&P is one for imprisonment. And based upon the information and evidence before the court, that is what I am going to order. As to the count of manslaughter, a second-degree felony, I will sentence you to a term in the Utah State Prison of 1 to 15 years. As to the count of obstruction of justice, a third-degree felony, I will sentence you to a term in the Utah State Prison of 0 to 5 years. Based upon the circumstances and facts before the court, having been through or viewed the evidence in trial and reviewed the pre-sentence report, I am going to order that those counts will each run concurrent to each other. I will also make a recommendation to the board that you be given credit for time served. But ultimately, that's going to be up to the board. All I can do is make a recommendation. It will also be up to the board to make the determination of how much time you actually have to serve. I don't get to make that decision either. I can only impose the maximum, and the board takes it from there. But this is a case where prison is warranted based upon the facts and circumstances before the court. Ms. Sundwall, I want to tell you that your story doesn't end here. You're going to get out of prison, and you're going to live your life. And you will get to decide how 30 days to contest this sentence. I would ask that you consult with your attorney if you have any questions. The state has requested a hearing regarding restitution. Counsel, how much time do we need?
Probably just a few weeks.
Did you say how many weeks?
Just a few weeks, or whatever is convenient for Mr. Williams' schedule.
And Your Honor, I wonder, whatever we set, whether the court would be agreeable to striking the hearing if the parties indicate to the court that there's no disagreement.
Of course. If we have a signed stipulation.
From what I've seen, I don't think there's going to be, but I don't know. Anyway.
Are we okay to do it via WebEx?
It's my second request.
The state's fine with that.
How about June 1st at 1 o'clock via WebEx?
That works for the state.
Yes, Your Honor.
I will also go ahead and sign it was a continuous protective order, Ms. Hunt, that was filed?
Yes.
continuous protective order. Counsel, anything else we need to cover?
Not from the state, thank you.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I do want to thank everybody who's been involved in this process. It is not an easy one, and again, these decisions I do not take lightly. Appreciate everybody being here. We'll be at recess.